Yeah, just starting out, congrats to Coach Witt and Tarleton State. Just thought, they did a great job today. We couldn't get off the field. I don't know, time of possession wasn't, it was 37 minutes. I think they had the ball. It's hard to win the football game, especially when you're behind. We just didn't get the ball back to our offense enough. Then offensively, I felt like, it just was a struggle for us all day. Really towards the end of the season here, it's been, just a little bit out of sync and just not to where we were earlier in the season. But, I just think we're in the process here of building a program. That takes work. Sometimes it takes time. Trust me, I'm the most impatient guy that there is, but I couldn't be prouder of the guys on either side of me. There's a lot of guys out there playing through a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort today, and guys that, were playing their first college football games out there or sustained amount of time here in late in the season, early December, and they just went out there, put their head down, and kept playing, and nobody flinched at all. They just kept playing, kept trying to go 1-0, kept trying to make them snap it again, and I'm in debt to those guys because they got pride in the colors. They put North Dakota on their chest. They're going to go out there. They're going to do everything they can for the brotherhood and for the family business here to try to do what they can to help us have a positive result. So proud of the guys. We got beat today, pure and simple. They were the better team, and we got to go back to work and make sure that we have enough roster protection on our team that through injuries and through the course of a season, we're still able to be the best versions of ourselves late in the year.
Questions for the players?
Sawyer, if you could put your finger on it in terms of from what you guys were at your most successful in the first half of the year offensively to some of the struggles you've had late in the year, what would you say has been, what is the difference, I think?
I think just establishing the run. As our running back coach says, the offense gets going once our run game is, respected. And today the last 2-3 weeks, the run game has been off. So I think that's been the difference between the beginning of the season to towards the end of this season.
Well, Jonnie, even as many things that kind of went wrong for you guys early at 24-13 there early in the fourth quarter, you guys still have belief on the sideline there at that score?
Yeah, for sure. I think we had belief all the way to the end of the game. We knew that, we can't really just focus on the score of the game. We got to focus on each play that we in and just keep trying to get the ball back for our offense to put us in the best situation that we could be in. So.
And Jonnie, playing against that offense, is it, from a player's perspective, is it as unique as it is just like visually to see? Or how did playing against that defense differ than what you normally do defensively?
I mean, it's kind of the same as far as me. Like, I'm still doing my same responsibilities. Really, honestly, the whole defense is, maybe a few game plan changes as far as that. But, I don't think it was nothing that, overwhelmed us and stuff like that. They just got us today.
Is there any sense of pride with the fact that, this group maybe has started a new era of UND football?
Yeah, for sure. I think just that JYD mindset go a long way. And we know, regardless of whoever's on the field, they just going to play with that type of mindset and that type of determination to make some plays and try to get the ball back for our offense.
And Sawyer, the way that Lance was so dominant last week and such a big part of this team, was it tough to see his day end the way it did?
Yeah, of course. That's one of my guys. So it's always a sad day to see one of your guys get hurt, no matter who it is and how much impact they have. But at the end of the day, the next guy has to step up and get ready to make plays.
Anything else for the players?
Thanks, guys.
Players are dismissed for radio interviews in the hallway. Please forget us. Thanks, Jonnie. Thanks, Sawyer. We'll continue with questions for Coach.
Coach, you already hit on it a little bit, but from where you sit, what happened to the offense from the first half of the season to the second half?
Yeah, I think just weren't the timing of what we were doing. I think kind of lost our identity a little bit as far as where we thought we could guarantee yards. We didn't get enough yards, I felt like, in the second half of the season between the tackles. And once that went away, we just didn't throw it and catch it well enough and efficiently enough throughout the season in order to be able to move the chains. I mean, I think that's the difference right now. Early on in the season, we didn't know. You didn't know where the ball was going, who was catching the ball, where the ball was going to end up. We had tight ends that were catching balls. We had, running backs that were catching balls. And I just feel like, as the season went along, that we got a little bit more, I don't want to say predictable, but we kind of lost a little bit of our identity. And I think it all started with, we really felt like, hey, we could run 2 or 3 run plays that we hung our hat on and get 4 or 5 against anybody. And then, we weren't doing that. And then we were getting behind the chains a lot more, second and longs, third and longs. And then we just, we have to continue to get better on the perimeter. I think that's definitely something that I've seen here, as I've watched our team and what I think a championship football team looks like. You got to have some playmakers out there. I mean, we played against, man coverage all day today, and our guys got to be able to go out there and win some one-on-ones. And I've said it before. I think, we have a number of guys that are guys that can, do a good job of getting the offense getting the yards that the offense is designed to get. Now we got to go find some guys that can go get their own yards and catch the ball and make guys miss and break tackles and those types of things. But for us, we've talked about it all the time. It starts up front. We got to be able to, hang our hat on being able to do some things in the run game. And I think as the season's gone along here, teams have done a better job of taking that away from us, and we haven't been able to go to the next thing, to be able to take advantage of some of those numbers games and stuff like that on defenses that are, low in the box and, putting numbers in there.
It wasn't that long ago you said that defensive ends and cornerbacks, if they can be special, you can be really good on defense. How much did that hurt you today, having injuries impact those 2 positions?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're not going to make excuses, you know what I mean? We got beat today, now it would have been nice to have some guys out there, but, they lost a really good receiver too, number 2. I'm not sure what happened to him, during the game too as well. So injuries are part of it. Now, it was definitely, to get some guys ready, Evan Klutz showed up here in the middle of the summer, and he's starting for you, at this part of the year. Q was the first time that he's seen significant action too as well. So it's our job to make sure that we have enough roster protection that when things like this happen, that we have to learn from it and that doesn't happen again. And that's where we have to go to work and make sure that we do. And I get it. Like, hey, sometimes there's, certain positions that you have some bad luck and stuff like that. It's part of football, but we've got to do a good job of developing depth, because I think if there's one thing that I felt all year, I go back to the first game of the year, we were playing Kansas State, and in the third quarter, we couldn't get off the field. We started having to play a lot more people, and I felt like, we couldn't sustain success when we had to play those guys. And I thought it got better, but, to be able to ask some of those guys to go out and, play 50 or 60 plays, I don't know if that's fair to them either, just from where they're at in their career right now, So we have to go out and do a better job of that. But like I said, it came down the line of scrimmage today. I think it's the first time all year that, we had issues being able to stop the run. It wasn't like we gave up a bunch of explosives running the ball, but we gave up enough 6s and 7s and 8s, and we didn't get those, to be able to change momentum. There was, like you said, a couple things that were just really poor on our end when we did get the game to a manageable situation in the fourth quarter. We're supposed to be in a double call over there, and we're not, and we give up an explosive, and that really, I think that play just took the air out of our sidelines after that. And then at the end, it's, you can take timeouts to try to extend the game, but we don't. I mean, I got to look at protecting our players too as well. We're down to, really 1.5 quarters. Like, we're playing Grant Tyluki at corner at the end. He's not supposed to be playing out there, type of deal. So, it was one of those things that we got to continue to go get better and make sure we get enough bodies and good players and develop those guys throughout the year.
What did they tell you about the leaping penalty on the block punt?
Yeah, it was a penalty. I mean, once again, true freshman. I don't know. We've talked about those things in fall camp. You can't leap the shield. You can run through the shield. You can't jump over it. And it was just, as soon as I saw it, it was like, hey, you can't do that. So we got to do a better job of coaching it. Obviously not something we asked him to do. It was in the heat of the moment. And he goes and jumps the shield. And that was a big momentum play too as well. I thought that. And then we had a chance, moving the ball at the end of the second quarter to actually go up 14-13. Would have been huge momentum swings. But I think it's a credit to, we've really improved here on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like, throughout the year. And your defense can always keep you in the game. That's why it was so disappointing when it was 13-24. that we gave that one up. We hadn't done that all year, and like I said, just an absolute bust, by our safety. So that was the most disappointing thing. That if we could have got the ball back to our offense there and at least put some heat on Tarleton and seen if they could stop us, when we could make it a one-score game there off of it. So that was disappointing to not be able to get a stop and get the ball back to our offense.
What do you know about the severity of Rutgers injuries?
I don't know a lot right now. A lot of pain when he was out on the field there, and he doesn't show pain. He's been playing through some things, a shoulder, and that's the thing that people don't realize. How many guys in our medical team is outstanding. They do a great job of whatever they can do to try to help our people. Athletic trainers, our Center for Sports Medicine. We got a lot of guys out there that are playing with a lot of pain and discomfort, and that's what I'm proud of. Like, hey, it means that much to them to go out there and say, hey, coach, I don't feel great, but I'm not going to miss this for the world. They love football. They love the brotherhood that they play with. Like I said, I think we got to really do a good job here. We got some momentum, in our program. I think there's some belief as far as our guys really like it here. I think they really believe that they're getting developed here. That there's nothing that we're not doing that can't somebody else can do. I think they believe if they follow the protocols of the program, they got a great chance to be able to become the best versions of themselves and get developed. And now we got to go get the next group of guys in here so that we have enough depth to be able to feel good about where we're at late in the season.
And the last one from me is just Jerry Kaminsky. When did you realize that he was going to have a chance to play today?
I felt really good about it Thursday. You don't really say much because the doctors still are really guarded about, can he play, can't he play? We talked with the family, talked with Jerry. I mean, he probably had one of his best practices on Thursday. He was throwing it around on Wednesday already. He's really tough. I think that's something that is really impressive about him, just his competitive spirit. If he can go out there and help us, he's going to do it. No matter what. So once he got to Thursday, did a good job, kind of passed everything. As far as physically, then it was just some things as far as the baseline concussion stuff that he took initially that he had to go pass, and he did that. So like I said, he's done everything he can to try to move this place forward and move our offense forward. And now we got to get back to work with him and all of our other quarterbacks too as well. Get Javance going again and really start to move our offense forward.